Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. So today I figured I would talk about some giant monster stuff, kaiju and whatnot, because, well, I do like the genre. Of course, when it comes to cheaply made stuff, that seems to be my thing, I guess, comes to this channel. And I figured we'd talk about that kind of thing, because I do like the genre, obviously. And I feel like I don't talk about it enough, even though I talked about a lot before already. And Ultraman, yeah, this is definitely a character I haven't spoken about in a long time. This is going to be a TV show, to be more specific. Speaking of taking a while, I don't talk about TV shows all that often, really, come to think about it. It's only like some occasion, really, when I talk about TV shows. And yes, there's a reason for that, by the way. Anyway, to be more specific, Ultraman Ace Complete Series 5, the fifth one. So yeah, there's five of them. Of course, hence the title of the show, obviously. It does give me an excuse to talk about something giant monster related and some Japanese, of course. Because the thing is that show was produced by the same company that produced those Godzilla movies. So there you go. The more you know. Toho. Yes, obviously, it's going to be something I thought I would talk about because I bought this on Blu-ray. Yeah, it's on Blu-ray. It's uncut, by the way. It's the original version, of course. I'm not going to review the dubbed versions of this stuff because I don't care for those really bastard versions. I'm reviewing the actual Japanese version with subtitles. This version was released by this one company here, folks, which, yes, should look familiar because, yes, I keep bringing this company up. Like I said before in my other videos, yes, they release these multi-packs, of course, when it comes to Blu-ray formats and pre-release features, of course. And they are this home video release, and of course, they were also doing something in regards of their music, of course, and it was funded all the way back in 2002. And yeah, I keep revisiting this company, of course. They didn't make the show, they also just pretty much release other stuff like this and whatnot. They just released this kind of stuff. I guess I get more into this box set later on. I just thought I'd point it out that this is the Blu-ray version I'm reviewing, folks, just so you know, obviously. But yeah, all in all, I just thought this would be a good way to talk about something kaiju related, something Japanese, in its original format, obviously. So there you go. And yes, of course, like always, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So here we go. So basically, what's going on here? Think of this like the superhero type stuff where the Earth must be defended and be protected by these gruesome creatures that keep attacking everywhere, I guess. And these individuals, of course, would do their best to pretty much trying to save everybody from harm, of course. And yes, of course, there's going to be these monsters that will come in and try to destroy everything. And there's this Earth Defense Organization, these fighters, they must come in and just fight the bad guys and just do their best, of course, because that's what they do here. And just like how like the Justice League would do, or how Marvel's Avengers would do, some in that nature. Of course, got to protect, even though this group is made up of maybe aliens or whatever, yes. So anyway, this definitely is like a thing for this kind of visuals. They are pretty much being kind-hearted, of course, obviously. But the thing is that they definitely want to make sure that everybody's safe, obviously. I mean, of course, that's not the only thing that's going on, obviously. Each individual episode would have a thing going maybe specifically for that episode. Sure, that's fine, obviously. So there's the. Here's the thing, though. There are these human characters that are a part of this group. It's not just these giant individuals like these that would definitely fight the monsters, sure, but there are these human individuals that are a part of this organization, and one of them is Archman, but he has to keep it a secret though. So that comes into play, obviously. But Archman, of course, is going to be the main draw to the thing here, folks. Of course, him and the others, of course. But like I was saying, there are these human characters. The human characters basically want to, of course, help out. They don't have their own moral code. Obviously, they basically want to help everyone out, no matter what's going on, because it's their duty to do so. Of course, it could be aliens or what have you that's trying to threaten everybody, of course, and it has to be done. It has to make sure that these these people, Earth itself is protected. Obviously, make sure everybody must be kept safe, of course. But yeah, that's what's going on with this kind of a thing. Obviously, yes, of course, it's part of a franchise that's been going on for quite some time. And I just thought I'd discuss this because I did discuss Ultraman before, but it's just been a good while since I've last done that. Anyway, but like I was saying, these characters would do their best to basically defend the Earth, of course. And then they have to fight these creatures. These creatures, of course, these monsters, as I would say, will have their own abilities. And yes, it gets pretty crazy. It gets really weird when you think about it, but that's fine. But in this time around, I guess you can say there are these types of creatures. These monsters will have their own abilities, of course, and that's something that needs to be dealt with, obviously. And these bad monsters are of obviously is supposed to be dealt with, of course. So there's that. They're causing havoc, and obviously they'll be really terrible. And of course, the human characters in this organization they must talk amongst each other. They must pretty much just do what they have to do. Obviously, this show pretty much starts off really strong in that sense, of course. And there are these scientists that pretty much create this massive missile. Let's just say that does come into play, obviously, in here, folks. And yes, these organizations would have weapons like guns, of course, that would come into play, obviously. So yeah, it's just not just the monsters will be doing their own thing, of course. Also, the human characters will obviously have some action. They would have some chaos. It will pretty much do what they have to do. Of course, it's pretty fast paced. Really, it's really fast paced. Really, so it's like things just go by fairly quickly. So he's as a result of this, it just, of course, want to create as much chaos as humanly possible. So it's of course could be pretty difficult for some people to pay attention to something that's like really specific, of course. But yeah, there's going to be explosions, destruction, amount of destruction, obviously. So lots of crazy stuff that we'll be going through. The humans as well, not just the Ultraman and the others, of course. Also, the Ultraman and the others who are giant will also have their own abilities as well. Of course, they have their own abilities, their own strengths on how to fight off these creatures. Not just the monsters will have their own abilities, but so the Archman and the others as well. So yeah, the others that will help Archman, they pretty much have to work as a team as well. Clearly, of course, it's the Japanese version I'm talking about here, and it's presented in HD quality. The sound quality is actually pretty good. Obviously, the sound quality and picture quality is going to be in high definition, of course. And it comes in this really nice looking box set, of course, with one of the characters in the front, of course, giving his action pose, of course. So there's that. And obviously, it's not too shabby in the ways designed, of course, obviously. And yes, like I was saying before, I did watch this in the original language, and yes, there's subtitles for those who don't know. And yeah, there's this whole thing right here. There's this whole set. There's a little booklet right there, obviously giving you a bit of information about behind the scenes production with the company that made this show. Like I said, it's a Toho company that made the Godzilla films, of course. And there you go. It's just a really hefty looking thing, of course. But I don't mind really. So I want to get the complete series, at least a complete fifth series anyway, on Blu-ray. I like the overall design here. It was nice put together and whatnot. And it gives you like the names of the monsters, names of the human characters, and a just brief description of each episode they have. And yeah, there's quite a few discs in here too. A lot of discs in here that you can actually see here. So yeah, that's definitely a pretty good collection, I would add. I do like the presentation of this. And it's pretty straightforward in a lot of ways. I like the fact that there's lots of action here, folks. I do like that. It's definitely is pretty serious and it's in its own little way, obviously. And I like that. I don't want it to be goofy or anything. No, I don't. I don't want that really. If I'm gonna be honest here, folks. But as a whole, I can definitely say I like the fight scenes. The fight scenes are really well done. Of course, it is very action packed, yes, but I do like the fight scenes, the way they were handled, and the way they were executed. It was choreographed, the fight scenes with the monsters, and of course with the human characters as well, and they have their own action sequences as well. So that was pretty nice done as well. It's not just the monsters having cool fight scenes, but also humans as well have their own action set pieces throughout the episodes. Of course, when it happens, there may be plenty of explosions, as you might expect, and that's fine. That's kind of what you expect when it comes to this kind of stuff anyway, so nothing wrong with that, obviously. So I do recommend this because I did like how it was presented, obviously. I did like how there was going on with the one continuous story before wrapping it up in the final episode of this season, of course. I do like the monster designs. The monster designs for each time you fight a creature is pretty cool in its own little way. And I guess this will give you a chance to get creative. I guess you can say that's a way to get gives a lot of ideas, get the creative juice going, so to speak. And that's definitely is a thing right there, folks. Oh, definitely. This gets pretty wild in its own little way, but that's fine, really. I don't mind that like at all. But the way it was for this, of course, definitely is done quite well. Obviously, I did like how we're trying to have the overall story done and then mix in the fight scenes, and of course, in one way or another, obviously, it's gonna have like these weird, strange giant creatures running amok, and they have to be stopped. Obviously, they have to be dealt with in one way or another. Of course, and that's the thing, though. You're supposed to do that anyway. You're supposed to deal with these characters, of course. And by the way, in case anyone's wondering, those 6 discs, just so you know, and this was released into the this edition anyway was released in 2020. So you know, and just throwing it out there for those who don't know. But anyway, just thought I'd let you know for real quick. Anyhow, like I was saying, this was definitely one of those kind of shows I didn't mind getting into. And yes, it's a TV show. This was definitely aired, originally aired on April 8th of 1972 to March 30th of 1973. With a total running amount episodes of 52 episodes. So there's that. So yeah, with this show, the Archer series begins to shift in more of a sci-fi mystery adventure to a sci-fi fantasy kind of a thing, which it always kind of was to begin with, when you think about it. But that's fine, obviously. But yeah, pretty much the overall story would just center around the from another dimension. There's this agency, this comes in the they pretty much have these attacks on Earth by using these biological weapons titled terrible monsters that are supposed to be more stronger than just ordinary monsters, of course. And the first terrible monster managed to destroy a city, and the Earth Defense Agency that was the patch to fight it. Of course, a pair of youths pretty much had lost their lives in protecting the nearby villagers as the fifth Archman from M78, and then those Archman A's who fused with them. Of course, the pair were given. So there was that going on. Things get pretty wild in the grand scheme of things, obviously. And of course, have to pretty much do this kind of a thing. And I'll just leave it at that with story wise because there's quite a bit going on when it comes to these human characters and monsters. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to realize that. Of course, you're going to have something going on with the human characters. That's a given. But not only that, something must be going on with the monsters. They're like the monster stuff. The monster affair must have a storyline, and so would humans. The human characters also must have a storyline as well. And somehow you must blend the two together. Yeah, it must be mixed together in one way or another. That's like the most obvious shit ever, but a lot of people seem to miss that somehow, which is weird when you think about it. Anyway, I just thought I'd just talk about this because due to the release of this, of course, it was on Blu-ray, like I was saying, in standard and Blu-ray and whatnot. So there was that, of course. And I just thought I'd talk about this because, like I was saying, I feel like I don't talk about this genre enough. And like I was saying also before, I don't talk about TV shows all that often. Not really, come to think about it, not that often. I mean, I have, of course, but still. But this definitely will get a good recommendation from me because it's action packed with a good story overall. Even though each individual episode might have its own thing going on, and as they should, of course. And they may one way or another relate to the giant monster attacks and the human drama, I guess you would say, in one way or another. And that's fine. I like to have some conflict going on here because as I said multiple times before, if there's no conflict, then there's no drama. If there's no drama, then there's no story. If there's no story, then there's no reason for me to care like at all whatsoever. So I just thought I'd throw that out there again, of course. So in the grand scheme of things, I can say that this was definitely one of these type of shows I would talk about because it has something to do with giant monsters, it has something to do with that, of course. I didn't mind that. I mean, okay, it may not have the nicest, biggest budget in the world, but still, I don't mind talking about this kind of stuff. I do enjoy giant monster stuff anyway, of course. So there was that, and there's supposed to be some kind of heroic transformation, obviously. So there was that, of course. And yes, there's actually a female team member in this. What do you know? Pretty progressive in a little way. And yeah, that's the thing though. I know a lot of people would complain about this thing nowadays, but yeah, there's actually a woman in the team when it comes to these characters. And that's the thing. Nobody makes a big deal of it. No one ever makes a big deal. I mean, you can always argue that most of the team members are male, which, yes, true. But no one makes a big deal about the fact that there's a woman here. No one, like, okay, she's about a team. Otherwise, she wants to be respected as a team member. You have to, of course, pull in the work, by which I mean put the effort in, of course. If she wants to be a respected member of the team, you have to do your work. You can't just lay around doing nothing, which is understandable, of course. There's the whole war is at stake here, we're crying out loud. Of course, that's going to be a thing. I mean, there's a bunch of other characters that do come in throughout the show. There's quite a few characters that come in, obviously, but I'm just saying that it's definitely a worthy show to watch, at least as far as I'm concerned, anyway. But yeah, I definitely do think that this is a pretty crazy show in its own little way. And I do recommend this for those who have not seen it as of yet, of course. And I didn't mind it really. I didn't mind it watching this. And that's the thing though, I was supposed to review this a while back. Yeah, that's the thing. I was supposed to review this already, but it just took me a while to actually get to it. That was pretty much lollygagging. So yes, obviously, what I'm trying to say is that this video was supposed to have come out ages ago. It's supposed to come out eons ago. And just that, I just took me a while to actually get to it finally. So yeah, I was kind of dragging my feet. Yeah, that's how to say it. I was pretty much just dragging my feet to talk about this. Dragging my feet, so to speak, to come to this. A part of it is, like I said earlier, is that I really don't review shows often. I really, really don't. Not that I say I haven't. I did review shows quite often before. I'm not saying I didn't. Just not super frequent. Is what I'm saying. Talking about TV shows, it's just not super frequent, really. And of course, that's assuming I'm interested in watching it in the first place. That's the thing. But anyway, that's part of it. But yes, also had quite a few other things I want to just talk about. Of course, there's quite a few other things I just want to mention on this channel and just talk about quite a few different things. I also got in the way. So it was pretty bunch backed up. So anyway, yes, I was supposed to have had done a review for the show a while ago, a good while ago. But yes, definitely, I'm just finally got to it in this high definition superhero action packed adventure that could be pretty exciting in its own little way. And yeah, that's definitely the thing. Finally, yes, finally about damn time I got to this. No, definitely. Finally, about damn time I just got to this finally. So here we are, I suppose. But altogether, this was definitely well constructed. And yes, of course, when it comes to making TV shows, it's not going to be the same way as to make a movie. Because maybe making a movie might have more time, of course, but you can't say that for a TV show. When it comes to making a TV show, especially when it comes to a show like this, is very time restrained. And yes, that put a lot of pressure on the people who are making this. And was something that a lot of people don't seem to realize that, I mean, yes, making TV shows in the United States of America is in itself a straining job. Yes, making a show in America, that in itself is a struggle. It's almost impossible to get a show done, of course. And that's, of course, assuming if anyone is interested in funding it and whatnot. But in Japan, it's very competitive as well. And and that's the thing, it's very competitive in Japan. If anything, it's really stressful over there as well, of course. And you have to pretty much do a lot in a hurry. If you really want to survive in this industry, whether it's TV shows or movies, you have to make them back to back. And yes, it's not that Ultraman wasn't successful before. No, it absolutely was. Before this, yes, of course, Ultraman was extremely successful. And which meant if they want to keep the momentum up, they had to rush into production for this TV show, Ultraman Ace, the fifth series. They had to get introduction rather fast, just get on to it like really, really fast as they could. So it's like, okay, you just got to complete in one show, and you had to immediately go into another and start making it. So yeah, they just it came off like you had no leg room to breathe for like 5 seconds. Yeah, just really get on it. Like hop on it already. Just get to it. Hurry, 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 hurry. I mean, they're the same way the movies, of course. I mean, in the United States, you might have some leniency into making movies, of course, but in Japan, not really. It kind of has the same attitude. You have to do a lot of things quick and just do really. And yes, it's just their way of how to, of course, survive in one way or another. It's just that's just how it is. It's just how to survive some kind of way. Just how to make even movies and TV shows. I guess especially TV shows in some ways. I guess both, I suppose, film and shows. They have to make that on a rapid, of course, as like just go into it as into production as fast as possible, as quick as possible, obviously. And it's just how they work. Unfortunately, it's not that I'm trying to bash anybody or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you some perspective on this. That's all I'm saying. Of course, I itself is pretty damn stressful when you think about it. It really is. So, and that's the thing with this thing. Of course, this can be pretty much a strain when you think about it. You have to come up with different monsters with different storylines, different designs, different fight scenes, and you have to do this in such a hurry. And yes, obviously, it's also low budget, of course, which makes this more strange for because you don't have a limited resource to actually do a lot of stuff. Really, when you think about it, so like I make this entire production thing here way more problematic than it should be. A lot of people are not aware of this. Like I don't know, complete. A lot of people are just unaware of this when you think about it. But that's how it is, though. That's how this is, unfortunately. And because what a lot of people don't seem to realize that when it comes to making movies or making TV shows, or both, I guess, in this case, because it's the company that's behind Godzilla movies, because it's kind of like they were making this stuff simultaneously with Godzilla stuff. But okay, sidetracking here is that it's a business. It's a business. You have to keep that in mind. First and foremost, it's a business. Of course, I want the product to be good. Obviously, I want the product itself to be well made, obviously. But you do have to keep in mind, it's first and foremost, it's a business. You have to keep that in mind, though. And just, wow, yeah, just crazy. Okay, so there was that. But anyway, I just thought I'd just talk about this because I want to talk about more giant monster stuff. And yeah, more giant monster stuff, more craziness, and more just weirdness. I mean, this show does get pretty weird, but I mean that in a positive way. I mean that as in a good way. It gets strange when you think about it, and that's fine. Yeah, because the 1970s was a crazy time when you think about it. The 1970s was a pretty crazy time in Japan and the United States. That whole era is pretty well interesting. I'll just put it that way. To put it lightly. I know that's an understatement when you think about it, but yeah, crazy times, crazy times. I remember the 1970s. Oh yeah, I remember the 1970s. I definitely had my own adventures. Because remember, folks, I am over 100 years old. Oh boy, I am over 100 years old, so keep that in mind. Anyway, I don't want to throw too much on that. I just want to wrap things up here. So finally, at the end of the day, it's not a bad show. This season is pretty solid. I definitely would recommend it for those who haven't seen it yet, of course. It's pretty expensive. If you want to buy an Amazon or eBay, it's pretty expensive unless you can find a cheaper copy used, assuming you can find it, that is. And yes, every time we try to look for stuff like this on the used market, but that's pretty difficult, really, when you think about it. That sounds like an entire video in its own. Come to think about it, it's not that we haven't tried though. It's not that we haven't tried. So yeah, we bought this. I bought this new, by the way. Anyway, I'll give this edition of the show a Novavar rating, but 7.3 out of 10. It's a 7.3 out of 10 for me. So thanks for watching. So see ya. Oh yeah.